So Miss Aura really didn't see it? It being the victim's or his head? I think not. She was out cold. I believe I was the only one who witnesses his head. Ah, here we go again. Mr. Gavin? Ahem, pardon. It just seems that our client is determined to lie his way through this case. Hey, he's still our client, isn't he? I believe that's enough of that. Mr. Gavin, this witness's testimony is more like a travesty. It's riddled with lies. I'm beginning to see how you came to lose your attorney's badge 7 years ago. Wait, what? Well, you certainly have a unique way of treating your clients, Kristoff. I never knew. I believe it was you who threw the first stone. Hey, stop funny, guys. That's right. If you intend to ever tell the truth about this case, it's now or never. Don't be misled. I haven't told a single lie here. When I noticed the trap, I put the card in the bottle to dispose of it. And when I put the hat on the victim's head, let's just say I had a reason for doing that as well. Reason? That reason is right here. Your cell phone? That night, recall that I spoke with Defense Attorney Gavin after calling the police. Just in case, I recorded our conversation. Huh? What's this? Now that we're all here, I see no reason why I shouldn't play it back for the court. Kristoff, I seem to be in a bit of trouble. What's this? Game not going well? Something like that. That gentleman who challenged you, he turned out to be good? He turned out to be dead. Someone hit him hard. You mean someone cracked that flawless bone china pate? It wasn't you, was it? Me? Please. The cops should be here any minute. I'm in your hands. Should it come to that? That's like the opening cinematic. Bone china plate? A kind of porcelain, very smooth and shiny. And not plate, but pate. I believe he was referring to a certain gentleman's balding forehead. The court appreciates the defendant's discretion in not indicating my forehead. Haha, his head is bald, whatever. Wait a second. Something's not right about that phone call. So after Mr. Gavin ate dinner with you, he left the Borsbowl Club? Most certainly. Then how did he know? When did he see this bone china pate? Oh, that's right. Yes. That was when I began to see my good friend in a different light. Troubled, I returned to the crime scene. And when I spotted Mr. Wright's head again, I realized exactly what was wrong. Well, Mr. Gavin, the stage has been set. Perhaps you would like to explain this to the court. Exactly how did you come by your privileged knowledge of the victim's head? Yeah, like everyone would like to know about why his head is bald, whatever. So this is your reason. This is reason why you put the victim's hat back on. Your point, Mr. Gavin? It's come down to this, has it, Phoenix Wright? Order! I will have order! Mr. Payne! Yes, Your Honor! I believe this court has been left with no other choice. Are you prepared to hear Defense Attorney Gavin's testimony? Well, this case has really taken a turn really interesting. Well, as a prosecutor, Very well. Bray will break for 10 minutes, after which Mr. Gavin will take the stand for a cross-examination. Are we all clear on that? Crystal clear, Your Honor. Very well. This will be the final recess for the day. April 20th, 2:32 p.m. District Court Courtroom. Defendant, lobby number 3. Mr. Gavin and Mr. Wright are both in the judge's chamber. Who'd have thought today would turn out like this? May I? Oh, who's this? Huh? What? Hello, sir. Please pick a card. Well, what's all this about? Is this one okay? Excellent. I have a message for you. The last hand is about to be played. You'll need a trump card to make it. A trump card? What's going on? The card you have chosen is magical. Use it wisely, and the game is yours. That's all. I know this is a game and all, but still. Oh, an ace. Where do I remember that card from? Mr. Smith's hand has 3 aces and Mr. Wright's 2. It is 5 aces in all. It is true. I have seen it. The 5th ace. there was cheating, I swear to you! The missing fifth ace. Wait, this blush red. Is this blood? You have your trump card. Now it's up to you to cut the deck and draw. Cut the deck and draw the truth. My father's fate is in your hands. I know you can do it. Huh? This blood-stained card is my trump card for finding the truth? I fell deep into thought as my mind raced to understand what this all meant. That girl. I've seen her recently, but where? That's when I made the connection. It's a little girl. Blood ace added to the court record. Evidence received from a mysterious girl. April 20th, 2:45 p.m. District Courtroom, lobby number 2. Court will now reconvene. Aha, the typo's gone, whatever. Defense Attorney Gavin, will you please take the stand? Now then, if you would, Mr. Payne. Yes, Your Honor. Will the witness state his name and confirmation? Is this farce necessary, Your Honor? Believe me, far stranger things have gone on in this courtroom. Fine, I'll play along. First, there's one thing we need to have made clear. How did you know about the secret beneath the victim's hat? By secret, I'm guessing he means the fact that Mr. Smith was bald. Forgive my curiosity, but what is it about this fellow's head? Your Honor seems to have an inordinate interest in it. Balding head fetish. Wow, objection much! Oh my gosh, Phoenix is next to us! I wouldn't call it inordinate, Mr. Gavin. Epic music for the past game! The first game, anyway. Brings me back. Mr. Wright! This is objection theme song. What do you think you're doing, right? Wow, things sure look different from the other side. You know what I mean, Miss Apollo? Speaking of looking from the other side, let's consider something for a second. The victim wore that hat all night, never once taking it off except for that one time. That one time being the instant he was hit. Oh! When Mr. Wright returned from reporting the crime, the hat was lying on the floor. Mr. Wright picked it up and placed it on the victim's head. In other words, in order to have seen Mr. Smith's bald head, you would have had to be at the scene of the crime, at the time of the crime. In other words, you have to be the real killer. Is what you're trying to say? Not bad, Apollo. Mr. Gavin? I'm afraid that I haven't been entirely honest with the court. What? Oh, I assure you, I had the noblest of intentions. I did it all to protect my client, Mr. Wright. Yet, I'm afraid in the current situation I see little reason to hide anything. Very well, allow me to tell you the truth of what happened that night. Finally, you may begin your testimony. Tell us, how were you involved in the events of that fateful night? That fateful night. The rage I sensed in that man that night troubled me, so I returned to the club. I went down to the basement and peeked in through the little window to the hideout. It must have been right after the murder took place. The victim was dead, as he appears in the photo. A bald head, an unconscious girl, and Wright holding a bottle in his hand. I sensed that it was not the best place for me at the time. For me to be at the time, and so I left. That's when the call came from Wright. So, you witnessed the murder?! For better or worse, I missed the actual moments of the deed. Mr. Gavin, may I remind you that you are on Mr. Wright's defense team. Your testimony is clearly disadvantage to your client! What else could I say? I'm standing on the witness stand, after all. So you are, Mr. Gavin. And you had to testify as you just did. You had to tell them that you saw the scene of the crime through that little window. Mr. Wright? You had to say that because that was the only probable window of opportunity, right, Apollo? Oh. Mr. Wright, the defense should do the cross-examination, not the defendant. Mr. Justice, are you prepared? Yes, Your Honor. I can't believe I'm going up against Mr. Gavin! His boss! This trial is getting weirder and weirder. Blah. Oh. That man, you mean Mr. Smith? He was different from the other customers, his aura, shall we say. I knew he was a serious poker player, but it was more than that. So that you knew the true nature of your client's job? Of course, but I also knew he wasn't engaged in gambling, which would be illegal. Well, it makes sense that he'd know. They were friends after all. Worried for my friend, I returned to the club. You see, I fear this Mr. Schmidt might be someone who's coming to settle an old score. I see. What happened then? Went down to the basement, peeked in through the window. Yeah, okay. The little window? You mean the one you used to keep watched up on the stairs? Yes, a relic of the ancient past. The black marketeers used it, I believe. Why did you go through the trouble of peeking in through the window? Wouldn't it have been easier to just open the door and go into the room? I didn't want to upset Mr. Wright. Right, you see. Upset Mr. Wright? Yes, what if my fears had been unfounded? I've been walking in on the match. Bad form, to say the least. So far, everything he's saying makes sense. It must have been right after the murder took place. How did you know it was right after the murder? Really? No need to shout, Justice. I was just getting to that part of my testimony. Ah, there he is! The coolest defense in the West we know and love. Even when you're standing up on there on the witness stand, some things never change. I was afraid you changed too, right? But you haven't. You and that overbearing personality of yours. Your friends like these, who needs enemies? Victim was dead, as he appeared in the photo. By the photo, you mean the second photograph of the crime scene? Precisely, you see? He wasn't wearing his hat then. I saw his head when he was dead. Then Mr. Wright came along and replaced his hat. Can you describe the scene of the crime for us? A bald head and a cautious girl, and Wright holding a bottle in his hand. He must be lying, I think. Those were the only three of the scene of the crime? Yes, as far as I saw, at least. Then we're back where we started. The killer was the Phoenix Wright. Who else could it have been? But why didn't you talk to the police? 2 reasons. First, I didn't actually witness the very moment of the crime. Second, my office was asked to defend Wright. Even after seeing what I had seen, I couldn't abandon my friend. Oh, how nice. There must have been someone else there at the moment of the crime! Justice, I just said I saw no one, not a soul. But that goes against what Mr. Wright said! Ah, yes, this mysterious 4th person. Who would be conveniently be the real killer, I suppose? Glad to see we agree, Mr. Gavin. Let me pose a question, then. Tell me, what possible reason did the real killer have to swap the cards in the victim's hand? Wait, what? Perhaps you can show us a reason why such a thing would be necessary? How can I show something I can't find myself? Remember, Apollo, the card that was swapped out was the 5th ace. 5th ace, right. Well, Mr. Justice, the question of why the killer would swap out a card has been raised. Can you point to a reason? I guess, sure. It's now or never. The defense would like to present evidence to the court. Evidence showing the reason why a card was swapped out. Then go ahead and point out your reason, Mr. Justice. Why did the killer take the 5th ace? Bloody. See from the mysterious girl. Can you see the missing 5th ace? Examine the bloodiness. A single drop of blood marks the front of the card. My reason is, this! Is that an ace? Why? Why? It's got blood on it! Right next to the spade! What? What?! This is insane! Why wasn't I told about this? Why? Could this be? Could this be the missing 5th ace? Inconceivable! How could you? What are you doing with that card? Well, that's the thing. Why is Mr. Gavin so upset? It's just a fishy card from some fishy girl. Oh, that card? It's mine. That is, I picked it up at the Divorce Boat Club that night after the murder had occurred. I gave it to my daughter. Cards are her stock and trade, after all. Yeah, you gave your daughter a bloody card. Yeah, that's very nice. No! Impossible! Unacceptable! The court can't accept this evidence. It's a fraud!